Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to present here today. Thanks to SANE and all of their hard work. Today I'll be presenting on the topic of the Ante-Nicene Mysteries and their New Testament sources. To start out, we have to define some terms. The Greek word mysterion, most commonly plural mysteria, had a specific meaning in the ancient world during the early Christian era. It is, of course, the etymological source of our English word mystery, which denotes something that is secret or hidden. But mysterion had another meaning in the ancient world, being derived from the verb muo, to shut the mouth. Mysterion was used to refer to an esoteric ritual wherein silence was imposed upon the initiates. These esoteric rituals, or mysteria, were used to impart knowledge and hidden wisdom in the Greek mystery cults. And as we shall see, the mysteria were also well and alive in the early Christian church. The word mysteria was used by the Ante-Nicene Church in connection with sacraments reserved for the initiated or more spiritual Christians. Since the mysteria were hidden rituals or teachings, it necessarily follows that they cannot be reconstructed with any certainty today. I will not therefore try to reconstruct the nature of the Christian mysteria. Rather, I will first survey some of the references to the mysteria in the writings of the Ante-Nicene Fathers, later show some possible New Testament sources for mysteria, and finally address the fate of the mysteria in Christianity. The mysteria are a reoccurring subject mentioned by the Ante-Nicene Fathers. In order to avoid misrepresenting their writings, at times we'll use lengthy quotations, but they're very interesting. So I will put them up on the screen for you so you can see them, so you can follow along so you don't get lost. While they definitely belong to the Ante-Nicene period, there is much controversy about the original sources, authors, and dates of the Clementia. They purport to be the writings of Peter's Roman disciple Clement, containing Peter's teachings and some of his disputes with Simon the magician. While it isn't impossible they could accurately report Peter's teachings, it is certain that they report a widely accepted early Christian perspective, and they have some interesting insights on the Ante-Nicene mysteria. Okay, Peter, speaking to Simon the magician, says, "We remember that our Lord and teacher, commanding us, said, 'Keep the mysteries for me and the sons of my house.' Wherefore also he explained to his disciples privately the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But to you who do battle with us, and examine into nothing else but our statements, whether they be true or false, it would be impious to state the hidden truths." This statement is interesting on many levels. First of all, the mysteries, mysteria, according to Jesus, were to be kept secret. They were to be had only by him and the sons of his house. These mysteries are clearly given in the context of sacred space, namely the temple. These hidden truths are not to be given to the contentious anti-Christian or to the non-disciple. These esoteric truths are held sacred. Indeed, the Clements also quote Peter as saying, "The most sublime truths are best honored by means of silence." Peter explains that this doctrine of keeping certain teachings silent can be a stumbling block to missionary work. Quote, "But if Simon remains wrapped up and polluted in those sins which are manifestly such, it does not become me to speak to him at all of the more secret and sacred things of divine knowledge, but rather to protest and confront him that he cease from sin and cleanse his actions from vice. But if he insinuate himself and lead us on to speak what he ought not to hear, it will be our part to parry him cautiously. For not to answer him at all does not seem proper for the sake of his hearers, lest haply they may think that we decline the contest through want of the ability to answer him, and so their faith may be injured through their misunderstanding of our purpose." According to Peter, to not openly talk about certain teachings can make the critics' arguments the de facto truth. On the other hand, speaking openly about such teachings would be a violation of the sacred command of Jesus to keep the mysteries for me and the sons of my house. This can be a delicate and frustrating situation, as many of us know. As Lactantius wrote, a mystery ought to be most faithfully concealed and covered, especially by us who bear the name of faith. Clement of Alexandria and his disciple Origen wrote more clearly about the Mysteria than any other early Christians. Clement, though considered orthodox, applied the term Gnostic to himself and other Christians who possessed certain higher knowledge. In his view, the so-called Gnostics that we hear so much about really usurped a title that belonged to the elite of mainstream Orthodox Christianity. A Gnostic is an Orthodox Christian trained by the mysteries. And I didn't put that quote in here, so I will read it. Wherefore also all men are his, some through gnosis, knowledge, others not yet so, and some as friends, some as faithful servants, some as servants merely. This is the teacher who trains the Gnostic by mysteries, and the believer by good hopes, and the heart of heart by corrective discipline through sensible operation. Clement here breaks down all humanity into three categories: the heart of heart, the believer, and the Gnostic. The mysteries are not given to the heart of heart, or even to the believers, but rather only to the Gnostic, who are trained in the mysteries. The Gnostics are apparently those who have repented of their hard hearts and proven themselves worthy as believers. It follows that these mysteries, according to Clement, are not exhibited incontently and to all and sundry, but only after certain purifications and previous instructions. There are therefore two levels of Christians, the believers and the Gnostics. Origen, who was a disciple of Clement of Alexandria, expounded further upon these different levels of initiation in the church in his defense against the anti-Christian Celsus. He wrote, "Now, in answer to such statements of Celsus, we say that it is not the same thing to invite those who are sick in soul to be cured and those who are in health to the knowledge and study of divine things. We, however, keeping both these things in view, at first invite all men to be healed, and exhort those who are sinners to come to the consideration of the doctrines which teach men not to sin. And when those who have been turned towards virtue have made progress, and have shown that they have been purified by the word, and have led as far as they can a better life, then and not before do we invite them to participation in our mysteries, for we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. Whoever is pure, not only from all defilement, but from what are regarded as lesser transgressions, let him be boldly initiated into the mysteries of Jesus, which properly are made known only to the holy and the pure. He who acts as initiator according to the precepts of Jesus will say to those who have been purified in heart, he whose soul has for a long time been conscious of no evil, and especially since he yielded himself to the healing of the word, let such an one hear the doctrines which were spoken in private by Jesus to his genuine disciples. Celsus does not know the difference between inviting the wicked to be healed and initiating those already purified into the sacred mysteries. Not to participation in mysteries, then, and to fellowship in the wisdom hidden in a mystery, which God ordained before the world to the glory of his saints, do we invite the wicked man, and the thief, and the housebreaker, and the poisoner, and the committer of sacrilege, and the plunderer of the dead, and all those others whom Celsus may enumerate in his exaggerated style, but such as these we invite to be healed. God the Word was sent, indeed, as a physician to sinners, but as a teacher of divine mysteries to those who are already pure and who sin no more." Like Clement of Alexandria, for Origen there are three kinds of people: the wicked who need healing, those who have been healed, and ultimately the initiated, those who have received the mysteries. I should also note here that the above writing of Origen contains several references to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, which we will take a closer look at in a little bit. Ignatius of Antioch, while on his way to Rome for martyrdom, wrote to the Romans that he knew of heavenly things that he could not impart to them,